Top anime for me of all time, Naruto, straight up. Music, iconic. You can if you have a true Naruto fan, you drop one of the openings from the original Naruto or like Naruto Shippuden, and it's one of those most famous openings. We know every single word to that like opening because it's so iconic. Character, I love Naruto. Just how they built not only Naruto but like all the characters around him and how they built them up over the years. Is like you're growing up with him, right? In the original Naruto. Um, you can relate. For me, I related a lot to Naruto because Naruto was like the kid that no one was really friends with. He was really goofy. No one really understood him. But then suddenly, throughout the entire series, you find out that he actually has a big heart and has, even though he's not as smart as everyone else, he works harder than everyone else, and he gets better and builds respect from other people. And over the time, especially in Naruto Shippuden, you see how the past Naruto affects the current Naruto, and how that work ethic of Naruto led him up to be there. Developing connections with all the characters. When a character dies, you get really sad. You get really like you cry a little. I cried like a lot too, just like watching it because there's some moments I'm like, dang, dude, I know these guys aren't real and too deep, but I'm still sad. It's because you invest so much of yourself and you see yourself as that character, and like just seeing how you would progress and grow up over the years and compare it to Naruto. That was something that I thought was really, really cool. And why I like Naruto so much is because there's a lot of really good core values that really help shape who I am today. Like Naruto, his number one thing is my ninja way. I never go back on my word. Honesty, right? Friendship. Sasuke, Naruto, that's friendship. Okay, like if you're gonna chase after your friend who's been abducted by some snake dude for like a good first half of your life, that's friendship. The good quality, good form of friendship. Friendship through different people. Like you have Jiraiya Sensei and Naruto. An adult and a kid can still be friends. Friends isn't like friendship is such a big like term that could be put in any situation. You can say Naruto was friends with Jiraiya. He was friends with Sasuke. And just that friendship it's just so important to Naruto. And that influenced me to see how I see friendships nowadays. Like friendships for me is like one of the most important things to have as a person. Because life, you can't go through life by yourself. You have to have people helping you go through it. And by watching Naruto, finding other people that like Naruto, we kind of formed like our own little friendship pact, friendship bond, to like kind of help ourselves carry out for the rest of our lives. Like support each other no matter what happens. Just like it's really funny how just like a little simple show, a cartoon show of 2D characters, some quirky anime characters could like impact like someone growing up so far as Naruto did to me.
Okay, so my favorite is Berserk, specifically the 1997-1998 version of the animation, and it's also my favorite manga. But the reason why I love it so much would probably have to, I mean, there's story in there as well. There's the lore, the way the monsters, gods work and all that stuff. But the reason why I love it so much is primarily because the main character, Guts, there's this scene where he's talking to character Casca, who's also a really good character. But there's a scene where he's talking about Griffith, who at the time they were best buds before Golden Age ends and things happen, who's a great character in his own right. I hate him. But there's a scene and he's talking about how Griffith has his dreams. Casca has her goals and all these great ambitions, and how the Band of the Hawks all have something to aspire for. And he looks at himself, and it's a very retrospective moment, because he's like, the Band of the Hawk, they like me, they look up to me. But he's like, I don't really get it. Why? Because like when I think about it, who I am as a person, I'm just some guy who swings a sword and gets by day to day. And he's like, that's not really a way to live. So what pushes, arguably what causes all the drama that eventually happens, is that Guts says, I'm not going to live for another person's dream. I'm going to go find my own dream. I want to be able to be a person who maybe isn't the strongest, even though he is, but the best swordsman or whatever. He's like, I want to be someone who's beyond just being the best swordsman. And that, for me, has, I don't know, it was just something that resonated really well. So
I would probably go, my favorite anime of all time would definitely be Konosuba. It's an isekai anime, for those who don't know what an isekai is, it's basically the main character is taken from our world and then submitted into a fantasy world of some sort. And it's usually a lot with the overpowered main characters, but this one plays on those tropes and subverts them. And it's a very humor-based anime, but there is actual character development. It's really well animated. It's hilarious. I think every time I've watched it, I just laugh like that. I think, favorite scene. I think my favorite arc would probably be, I don't know, it's hard to say because the way, like, there are explicit arcs, but they all tie together. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's very clear when an arc begins and when an arc ends in Konosuba, but the issue is it's so well meshed together that it's hard to separate them into a way. I'd say my favorite moment would be, well, no, that's actually a spoiler. So, basically the end of season 1. Very well animated, very exciting character development. I won't say anything else, but I recommend it. Oh, also, you have to watch other isekais to fully kind of understand it. Otherwise, some of the jokes don't land as well as they would normally.
I'd have to say that my favorite anime of all time is Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon, of course, not the movie that was made afterwards. It is pretty much the only anime that I've ever really watched, but I also watched it in college, which was a unique experience for me, starting anime as an adult basically. But I just love the characters. Every character has a purpose in the show, and the character development in the show is really amazing, and the show's not afraid to talk about really important things, which I really love as well.
Okay, so like I said earlier, Yu Yu Hakusho, favorite anime of all time. It's just every character has a very specific personality and how they kind of how they relate to everything else in the world that is around them. Like Yusuke dies in the first episode and then comes back kind of reincarnated and just not reincarnated. He is legitimately brought back to life, and he kind of just has a different outlook on life already. Because in the first episode, he's already, it's like, oh, no one would care if I died. And then he goes to his own funeral as a ghost and sees that literally everyone misses him and is crying. Even his rival is there, and he's like, I didn't get to fight him fairly. And then even his mom, who he doesn't like a lot, who wasn't a great mom, was there, and she's mourning heavy, and it made him just yeah, I guess I took my life for granted. And all that, and I think my favorite arc from that show would be the Dark Tournament, which is the Yusuke and the crew, they get invited to this tournament as the only, there's only 2 humans on the team, or 3 humans, but it's a demon tournament where you win the tournament, you get anything you want, and they're forced to enter this tournament by a man named Toguro, who is a super powerful demon and just wants to kill Yusuke for some reason. We don't know yet at the start of the arc, but we later find out. But it has some very good character development, not just from the main character, but from a lot of the side characters, and even side characters I didn't care about before had some amazing character development.
More of the older one is Ouran High School Host Club. it always has like a little special place in my heart. That's what I tell everyone. It's kind of like a cheesy romantic anime, but all of the characters are super lovable. There's a really good plot line to it. There's some distress that they go through, so it's not all cheesy romance and everything. And then the twins in that are precious. And the second one would be Demon Slayer. I fell in love with the whole entire storyline, the characters, all the character development. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong, Zenitsu. His character development was super, super good. And I have shed tears for characters that have died, even enemies and evil people, or quote-unquote evil people that have died and everything. And then Nezuko needs to be protected at all costs, and she is a little baby.
I definitely have a hard time with this question because it definitely varies as like depending on my mood, because I'll like Death Note one moment because I just love mystery, and I'll love Attack on Titan in another moment because I just love the story behind it and just where we're going as characters in terms of main character like Eren Yeager. But my favorite anime of all time is most definitely Hunter x Hunter, because it really encapsulates exactly like what I feel a shonen anime should strive to be. It should strive to be an anime that has the main character having somewhat reachable goals, something that's like you can actually aspire to like reach if you were really in this world. If you're just an average Joe trying to like do your thing, this is a goal that seems realistic, but like at the same time it's something that he had to work really, really hard for, like the becoming a hunter and soon finding his dad somehow. But it's really simple in that aspect. It's not like I want to be the Pirate King or I want to be the next Hokage. It's very much just like I want to do some fun things, and I want to find my dad at some point and just have fun with my friends and stuff like that. But just the arcs that that make Hunter x Hunter amazing are the ones that seem insignificant, like the one where they played the video games, they played Greed Island. They were just doing that just so they could find some more things, find out a little bit more about Gon's dad, the main character's dad. But they end up not really finding too much. And that leads into the Chimera Ants arc, which is by far one of the best arcs in anime of all time, in my opinion, because we have a certain expectation that like Gon, the main character, is going to be overpowered at some point. He's going to get a super ultimate ability that's like, that makes him the like most overpowered character in the entire show or something like that. And it's already known that he's powerful, but at first he does not succeed at all. He actually fails tremendously, and he's not even able to live up to that failure at first, even throughout the entire arc. He's just like just struck with grief because of it, and it's that grief that gives him a power, but it's not necessarily a power that is something that he needed to desire or something that he needed to strive for, and it ended up costing him something very major to him. It was like his life force. It was very detrimental to him growing as a main character. And I think it's like the expectation that shonen should have now is that there's no perfect main character, and that's exactly what we needed to look for in a shonen anime. Like, it's just an average character that has aspirations, and he was unable to fulfill them sometimes. But in the end, he still at some point finds his friends. He finds a lot of fun things to do, and he gets to see his dad at some point, which is a little bit of a spoiler, but I mean, come on.
Okay, so my favorite anime of all time, it's Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter, if you prefer to call it that way. And what I like about Hunter x Hunter so much is like the in-depth of like their in-world like mechanics, which is like the Nen system, which you figure out later on. That the depthness of it is like really captivating and releases like very creative battles, and also like the arcs are like really intricate and like it's not always like black and white about whose side it is, and also the characters are very like creative in their battles. Also like not most of the time with this Gon, Gon's supposed to be like not as smart, but he can still come up with the creative solutions of how to beat some enemies. But the characters in it, and like almost every character is like really solid. They have great backstories. They have like great motivations. Like motivators are like one of the big things I like in the shonen anime. Like motivations help them lead throughout the story. So that I love the motivations the characters have in Hunter x Hunter. And my favorite arc so far, it may not be the popular one, which is the Chimera arc, but like I like Greed Island. Greed Island arc is like really good as well. But most of the arcs are like almost perfect in Hunter x Hunter, so that's probably like my favorite.
My favorite anime of all time, no other anime can replace this, is One Piece. One Piece has stuck by me ever since I was a kid. I would look forward to seeing Luffy on the screen, beat people up. I would see him make new friends, make new connections. I would see him just be able to achieve his dreams, no matter what stands in his way. And he may be a little dumb sometimes, but I feel like that's just part of who he is. And he doesn't give up on his friends. He doesn't give up even when things seem so low and he should just give up there. He stands back up. He is driven by just the support of his friends. It really makes me happy because I see people like that and I think I can do that. If I just put my mind to it like he does, then I can do whatever I want to do. And so now every time I look at Luffy, I just see a little bit of myself in him, and I see that I can do what he does, and it really just holds a special place in my heart. And I think one of my favorite arcs of all time in One Piece would be the Sabaody Archipelago arc, which is basically right before the big time skip in One Piece. And that's when everybody got sent away, all of his friends. So Luffy was all alone and he didn't know what to do because he was so worried about everybody. And now he's driven to find them and come back together, but stronger. So that way something like that doesn't happen again. So it's just getting stronger to help your friends is something that I always try to do every day because I love my friends. I cherish them deeply. And I want to be strong enough so that I can help them and I can receive that same thing too.
My favorite anime of all time is, I feel like a pretty common one, which is Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball. There's newer stuff that I just haven't really been able to get into, like the Dragon Ball Supers. Currently I still kind of go back and revisit some of those Dragon Ball Z episodes. I don't watch a whole lot of newer Dragon Ball Z, or not Dragon Ball Z, but animes, because I kind of grew out of venturing out and trying to find new ones. I used to watch Yu Yu Hakusho. What was it? Inuyasha. Those old Adult Swim animes. I thought those were awesome.
For me, it's an easy answer. I love anime in general, but the first anime that I ever watched is perhaps what hooked me on anime, and never went back from there, was Hunter x Hunter. That's my favorite anime. I had never seen a single episode of anime or seen at all, other than maybe some Naruto clips from way back, until when I was in high school. I was put on to this show that I'm like, this is crazy. I can't get into this. Like, it's something that I can see how people would enjoy this, but it's not for me. But then I watched the first episode and it was on Netflix. And then I got hooked because the story just hooked me, and I've always liked cartoons, so I had no aversion to cartoons. Growing up, Scooby-Doo, Batman, and I still watch cartoons. But there's something different about anime because it engages you from the aspect of animation and cartoons, but then it appeals to like the maturation that I've gone through as well. And my favorite thing about anime are the storylines. You can't beat some of the anime storylines, and that's what separates an amazing anime from just like a really good anime. I love obviously fight scenes and graphics and like cartoon animation, and the way that the artists draw everything out. But what separates the anime from me is the storyline. So Hunter x Hunter, I just feel like there are a lot of really great animes that have amazing storylines. My second favorite probably going to be Death Note because of the storyline, but it was missing a bit of the action. So when you combine action with storyline, with graphics, and with character development that I feel like Gon and Killua, the two main characters, underwent throughout the storyline, can't beat it for me. Gon was such an inspiration. Like I can't relate to how it's the classic narrative of starting from the bottom and then working your way up, overcoming all the odds, being the underdog. But it's more than that. Like it speaks to the testament of his character, as in like when you face challenges, you don't just overcome them. Like you learn how to live with them, and you learn how to live with those setbacks. And I feel like just the issue is so deep, and I'm going way too much into this probably, but but I love anime. I can talk about it all day, and my favorite show is something that I could Hunter x Hunter. I can watch over and over.
So I would probably say Ronin Warriors, because that was the first anime that I was ever introduced to before I even knew what anime was, because it was on like some after school cartoon program when I was a kid. And we only had like ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox and PBS. So like all the local channels, we only had those when I was growing up. So I didn't have a lot of exposure to stuff. So that was like my first exposure to anime, and like I said, I didn't even know that it was anime. It was just people with swords and weapons fighting bad guys, which was dope. And so the thing that I liked about that, and it's the same thing with like why people like Captain Planet, right, is there's all different types of characters. They all have a different role in the group. They all have different powers based on elements. They have different weapons. So as like a 7-year-old, this main character that had 2 swords was really sick to run around my backyard playing as. So yeah, I think once I got exposed to anime, Yu Yu Hakusho became my favorite, because it's just like the fights are really good, the character building is really good, and it's hilarious, spoiler alert, because the whole story happens because the main character dies when he doesn't have to die to save a little kid's life. And so just the way that the characters develop, there's like meaningful deaths that happen, which is always great in anime because it almost never happens.
Hands down, Hunter x Hunter. Love Hunter x Hunter. It's so good. I wish they would finish it, or at least finish this next season, because I'm just left hanging. It was also the first anime I really ever gave a chance. I'm very new to the anime scene, but a favorite character would definitely be Killua, because he's just such a cool guy. He's not even a guy, he's a kid. It's super cool. Anyway, honestly, I think just the idea in itself, like the concept of the story, super interesting. I think the way they make their powers come out and how it's not just like your normal superhero team, super strength and flying, blah, 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 and you're a rich guy. It's everyone's powers correlate to who they are mentally and how they view the world. So I think it's just very interesting, and the animation, the actual animation of it is amazing.
Oh, favorite anime of all time, no question, Naruto. Naruto is my favorite anime of all time. I am a sucker for shonen. I prefer isekai now, to be quite honest, but like I'm a sucker for shonen. I'm a sucker for the hero coming from nothing and going to be overpowered. Themes of friendship, of unity, of togetherness. It's got just a rich world. I mentioned the stories thing before, like the different Kage from the different villages and their histories, and how people you see now, when you see flashbacks, how they fit into like previous Kages, and how that influenced how the world is like today. Yeah, Naruto, like Jiraiya is one of my favorite characters from anything ever. He has a few problematic habits, but I think overall he's an amazing character. I think The show is just full of amazing characters. I think the villains, they do a really good job with most of the villains. The villages are all different. It's so good to me. It is so good to me. Like I love Naruto. Naruto, hands down, is my favorite anime. I would say for some similar reasons, a close second to me is Fairy Tail. Now I'm not talking about what I think the best anime is of all time. I'm talking about what my favorite anime is. So it's definitely Naruto. Fairy Tail is up there in the conversation as well for a lot of similar reasons. And then, well, I know I'm supposed to say my favorite, but I'm going to say one more too. FMA Brotherhood is what I consider to be the best anime of all time as well, but it's also top 3 anime as far as my favorite anime. And again, for the same reasons, strong characters, strong storytelling, the history and the lore of that, which is like a fully realized world, and I love that. Absolutely love that.